Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate
Recording in
Vasudevaya.
progress.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtapurayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vageshwari Yasya Vadane Lakshmi Yasyasya Vakshase Yasyasti Samvit Hridaya Samvit Tamnar Singamaham Bhaje Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande. So you are welcome for continuing your Bhakti Vaibhav study of 5th canto Srimad Bhagvatam, chapter 14, the allegory of the forest, Bhavati, compared to the material world, and the conditioned soul comes here and get lost. So these all descriptions are, this allegory is from chapter 13, but in chapter 12 there are also very significant verses 11 and 12. They speak the only way to get out of this material world is Mahat Raj Abhishekam. Only the dust from the lotus feet of great soul, Mahat, the Mahatma, devotees, is the only way to get out of this material world. And the meaning of dust of the lotus feet of great devotee means following in his footsteps. Because when you walk behind somebody, then the dust from his foot fall onto you. It means follow in the footstep of the great soul, which actually means follow the instruction of the great soul. And instruction of the great soul is Krishna Tattva, about the essence of the science of Krishna. So we are starting our session from verse number 33 until 41. This is the allegory explained, and then there is a glorification of Maharaj Bharat by the saintly people. Most probably, Krishna willing, we can finish this chapter today. Evam adhavani avarundhano mrityu gaja bhayat tamasi grikandra praye. Couple words you can see: mrityu, death; gaj bhayat, gaj is elephant, bhayat means fear; tamasi means dark; gri means mountain; and kandra means cave. So there are some things which you can relate. So here is a translation by Srila Prabhupada. In this material world, when the conditioned soul forgets his relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead and does not care for Krishna consciousness, he simply engages in different type of mischievous and sinful activities. He is then subjected to the threefold miseries, and out of fear of the elephant of death, he falls into the darkness found in the mountain cave. Now, the exact translation, Srila Prabhupada has given more explanation in the translation. for us to understand the meaning. On the path, evam adhavaye, advane. On the path means on the path in the forest. He is restricted to sinful acts. He is restricted to sinful acts. Avarundhanah. And out of fear of death, mrityu gaj bhayat, he falls into ignorance, which is like mountain cave. Tamsi Greek andra pray. What Srila Prabhupada has given purport in the translation is that conditioned soul forget relationship with Krishna, therefore he does sinful activities. On the back of Supreme Lord is Maya and adharma are sinful activities. So anybody who gives back to the Supreme Lord or who is on the back of the Supreme Lord will do all these nonsense things. And then he will be afraid of the death, and then he will try to find out some dark place to hide himself, which is like cave. So fall into ignorance. Srila Prabhupada's purport, everyone is afraid of death, and however strong a materialistic person may be, when there is a disease and old age, one must certainly accept death's notice. It means disease and old age are the notice of the death. The conditioned soul becomes very morose to receive notice of death. His fear is compared to the fear experienced upon entering the dark mountain cave, and death is compared to the great elephant. So dark mountain cave is a fear, is ignorance, and death is elephant. This verse explains the phrase out of inattention. He falls from the mountain cliff mentioned in 5:13-18. Out of fear of death, in ignorance, he is confined to perform sinful acts to prevent serious illness. In this way, he is absorbed in himself. Absorbing oneself in the bodily concept is ignorance. So this is the explanation of the verse 18. Being inattentive, out of inattention, he falls from the mountain cliff. 34. The conditioned soul suffer many miserable bodily conditions, such as being affected by the severe cold and strong wind. He also suffers due to the activities of other living entity beings and due to the natural disturbances. All these are called tapatraya, adi-devic, adhbhutic, adhyatmic. When he is unable to counteract them and has to remain in the miserable condition, he naturally becomes very morose because he wants to enjoy material facilities. Sometimes being unable to cope with the unlimited suffering caused by the body, mind and natural calamities, adi-devic, bhautik and adhyatmic, such as cold and wind, he becomes depressed because of unending desire for sense object, duranta vishya. Vishya means sense object. Duranta. Chakravarti Pad writes, this verse explains the phrase, sometime he is unable to counteract the cold, heat, wind and rain mentioned in the verse number 11 of 13th chapter. Verse 35. Mitho viharan yata kinchit dhanam upayati vittah shatyena. Sometime conditioned soul exchange money, but in due course of time enmity arises because of the cheating. Same thing earlier we have discussed. It's a repetition. Although there may be a tiny profit, the conditioned soul ceases to be friend and become enemies. Sometime in mutual transaction, kvachit mitho, mitho means mutual, and vyavaran means transaction. He obtained little wealth, yet kinchit dhanam upayati, by cheating with shatyen. Shatyen means cheating. As stated in Srimad Bhagvatam, Punsha Stri Maithoni Bhavam Etam Etayo Mitho Hridaya Granthim Ahutto Graha Kshetra Sutapta Vita Vitaira Janasya Moho Ayam Aham Mameti. So this verse is Punsha Istri means husband and wife. Mithoni Bhavam when they have attachment to one another. Etan yor mitho hridaya, and then they have a knot within the heart of attraction and attachment. Ahutto graha kshetra, then he will have the house, graha kshetra is land, sutta son, apat and relative, vitai means the wealth, arjan means he accumulate, asya moho, and then he have a attachment to this, an illusion that ayam aham mameti, this is mine and I, this is I and this is mine. So this is the meaning of the verse. This verse is A558. The monkey-like conditioned soul, which means Shudra, more interested in low illicit sex, in a mode of ignorance, first become attached to sex, and when intercourse actually takes place, he becomes more attached. He then requires more material comforts, apartment, house, food, friend, wealth, and so on. This is the explanation of the verse which is quoted. In order to acquire these things, he has to cheat others, and this creates enmity even among the most intimate friends. The word for the family is kutamba. Kutamba means for maintaining family you have to cheat. Kut means cheat. Use any method just to accumulate money is called kutamba. In first canto, Bhisham Pitama is saying, Krishna, you have considered the chariot of Arjun as your family, Kutam, and you protected it by any means, whether it is materially speaking, moral or immoral, but whatever you do is always moral. So Kutam means for maintenance you can do anything. Kutaniti, diplomacy, cheating. Sometimes this enmity is created between conditioned soul and the father or a spiritual master. Now Srila Prabhupada is writing something which is his experience within ISKCON. So is there some student who made a page for the ISKCON as a mission or some purpose of ISKCON? Anybody has made that? Anyone?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm making.
Yeah, please add all this because we need this as a one essay on the whole chapter about the purpose of ISKCON or the concern in the ISKCON of Srila Prabhupada. Now we are reading this. Sometimes this enmity is created between conditioned soul and the father or spiritual master. It means disciple, when he is conditioned, he can become enemy of his spiritual master. Unless one is firmly fixed in regular principle, this is Prabhupada's order, one may perform mischievous acts even if one is a member of Krishna conscious movement. It means the initiated devotees if they are not fixed in regulative principles, which means four don'ts and one do. One do is a name, rule. Always chant minimum 16 rounds carefully, attentively. And four are don'ts called name, and their rules and their regulations. If he is not fixed in his regulative principles, he will do mischievous acts, even if one is a member of Krishna consciousness movement. So we have to write Prabhupada's concern about members of Krishna conscious movements and his advice: be strict in regulative principles. We therefore advise our disciple to strictly follow the regulative principle. Otherwise, the most important movement for the upliftment of the humanity will be hampered due to dissension among its members. This was happening. Dissension, we have practically dissension now, the two parallel movements going on in India. And within the movement there are different disciples of different gurus, because of the not fixed in understanding philosophy and regulative principle, are fighting and making politics and so many things which Prabhupada called mischievous things, mischievous acts. Those who are serious about pushing forward the Krishna conscious movement, those who are serious about pushing forward this Krishna conscious movement should remember this and strictly follow the regulative principles so that their mind will not be disturbed. So this is very important purport by Srila Prabhupada regarding the transaction of the money and cheating and enmity among the devotees, among the devotee and the spiritual master, among the devotee, senior and junior devotees, and the result is there are mischievous acts. And the solution is strictly follow regulative principle. The danger is the great movement for upliftment of humanity will be hampered. And the advice is those who are serious to propagate this movement should be strict in their regulative principles. So there different way you write this. This verse explains 5:13:11. Verse number 36. Sometime having no money, the conditioned soul does not get sufficient accommodations. Sometimes he doesn't even have a place to sit, nor does he have the other necessities. In other words, he falls into scarcity, and at that time, even he is unable to secure the necessities by fair means. He decides to seize the property of others unfairly. When he cannot get the things he wants, he simply receives insult from others and become very morose. Sometime lacking wealth, kochid kshena dhanaha, and without bed or chair. Shaya asan means bed, asan means chair, adi upbhoga vihana, for his maintenance. Determined to attain what he desires, yavad manorath upgata adhan evaista matihi, but cannot attain apratilabha labda. He encountered disrespect from others, tatah tato avaman adini janad abhilabhyate. So Srila Prabhupada writes, it is said that necessity knows no law. This is again quoted English proverb. When the conditioned soul needs money to acquire life's bare necessities, he adopts any means. This is the poor countries where there is a scarcity, all the crimes are there, very prevalent. They snatch mobiles, they steal anything in the streets. So many things are going on because people don't have, just for their bare maintenance. He beg, borrow, or steal. Instead of receiving these things, he is insulted and chastised. Unless one is very well organized, one cannot accumulate riches by unfair means. It means for unfair means, one has to be well organized. This how can you how can you analyze this sentence? Unless one is very well organized, one cannot accumulate riches by unfair means. It means there are gangs, there are full-fledged cheaters, black marketers. They are well organized. They have different connections to protect their organization. Even if one acquires riches by unfair means, he cannot avoid punishment and insult from the government or the general populace. There are many instances of important people embezzling money, getting caught and being put into prison. These are the examples. Srila Prabhupada, we can find many people take loan from the bank and then never pay back and then run away, and you can find thousands such examples, more than that such examples you can find. But more Prabhupada used to say is the bad economy of a present day. Recently, somewhere I was preaching and I was telling that every person who, whatever he is saving after expenditure, he must always keep a share of the deity of the temple which he is serving. In this way, the Vedic economics for running temple is this. It's not that everybody should go and ask donation from people, no. And then some really big businessman, he told that there's no saving. I said, why? He said, because we had taken so much loan for so many things that we have to pay the installments. So basically speaking, there's nothing saving. This Prabhupada used to say bad economy. We don't have money and we get things, and then we have to pay the installments. So really speaking, there is no any person who has who has no loan. Everybody has some loan, and the one who has a loan is the most miserable person in the world, because he has to pay the loan. Father with a loan dies as a greatest enemy of his son. This is this Chanakya saying. Even the poor people in the villages, they have 1 year worth of food grain in their home. And the biggest rich man in the city have not 15 days worth grain in his home. So this is the difference of the modern living style and economy and the Vedic economy. So this is really big, important people are embezzled money from the banks, from the people. One may be able to avoid the punishment of prison, but one cannot avoid the punishment of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who works through the agency of material nature. This is described in Bhagavad Gita. Devi esh gunamaya mamaya durtaya. Nature is very cruel. She does not excuse anyone. When people do not care for the nature, they commit all kinds of sinful activities, and consequently they have to suffer. This verse explains, devoid of wealth, without bed, cheer, house and amusement, He sometimes begs from others, mentioned in the verse number 12 of chapter 13. Manoratha apagatane means he is determined to take the wealth that he desires. Verse 37. Although people may be enemies, in order to fulfill their desire again and again, they sometimes get married. Unfortunately, these marriages do not last very long, and the people involved are separated again by divorce or other means. Having increased enmity with others, evam vivardha vairano bandho api. Because of transaction of money with vyatik shanga, he marries according to his previous karma. Purva vasnaya mitha udavahati, and then gives up the marriage atha apavahati. What it means, Srila Prabhupada, let's see what Srila Prabhupada writes. As stated previously, every conditioned soul has the propensity to cheat, even in marriage. Everywhere in this material world, one conditioned soul is envious of another. One conditioned soul is envious of another. And those who are envious are not fit to receive the transcendental knowledge. Bhagavad Gita verse. Can somebody quote the verse?
Idam guyatamam.
Idam goyatmam pravakshami anusuya. You're right. Because you are non-envious, therefore I am imparting you this most confidential knowledge. So enviousness is, we are envious of the other living entities, we are also envious of the Supreme Lord. For the time being, people may remain friends, but eventually they become enemies again and fight over money. Sometimes they marry and then separate by divorce or other means. What are the other means?
Taking sannyas.
Then he will not be useless person. That is the best person. Somebody will take away his wife.
Yes, but sometimes they say there is a statement in shastra that they take sannyas just because the household life didn't work.
Anyway, if they take sannyas, then at least they are on a right path. But here, this is more degraded stage of divorce, or we have Devdat will take away, or the Vishnu Mitra will take away. Because enjoyment is not permanent. That's what that verse is more or less in the same mood. On the whole, unity is never permanent. On the whole, the unity of the male and female is not permanent. Due to the cheating propensity, both parties always remain envious. Even in Krishna consciousness, now write this, even in Krishna consciousness, separation and enmity take place. Even in Krishna consciousness, since the topic is of the marriage, and in Krishna consciousness, one of the Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Kaushalya, she came for the reunion in Bombay, and she told marriage is fairly in ISKCON, he said, in ISKCON marriage is fairly failure. Said, I was asked by the one person, one guru to marry with somebody, then the other. So, Prabhupada writes, even in Krishna consciousness, separation among the husband and wife, not because of sannyas, but because of other reasons, and enmity among the members of the society, or separation of the devotees from the movement, making separate movements, take place due to prominence of material propensity. So here the reason is Prominence of material propensity. Material propensity means where there is a property, where there is a wealth, where there is a facility, then there is a possibility of separation. We don't see actually, but I can see at least hundreds of ISKCON devotees. They are just running separate, small, their own ashrams. Not one, two, hundreds. Because they have separate interests. They have material propensities. They get a lot of, donation and they run separately something. This is what Prabhupada is concerned about the ISKCON because of material propensity. This explains sentence, living with increased enmity because of business transaction of wealth. He marries in verse number 13 of chapter 13. Apavahati means again he gives up that marriage. 38.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, when you say separate small ashrams, can you please specify what does this mean?
I have seen hundreds of such devotees. They were ISKCON devotees earlier and then they separated because they got some facilities, they got some land donated or some money, and then they are running small ashram in many places. You see around the Mayapur, all the big buildings are of the devotees. Around the Mayapur campus,
Yes.
the more development is outside of the Mayapur than inside. And they are all devotees. And they are not serving in the temple except one or two. And similarly, there are so many other places where there are ISKCON, old ISKCON devotees. They separated, they run their own small ashrams. And biggest is the one Akshay Patra all over the India is spread. It's only because of material propensity.
And Prabhuji, sometimes it happens, the options which are available in ISKCON temple, like different things are there, Bhakti Vrikshas are there, then IGF is there, IYF is there, so many things are there. But everybody, there's some people are just, my own group, all those things are happening. And some people, they don't even have services. So, how to look on that aspect, Prabhu?
We don't have a very strong spiritual authority. We don't have a person we want to work for and we take shelter of. We have leaders, they have their own agenda and they have their own priorities. And if we are fitting into that, then we can work with them. Otherwise, they said, my way or highway. This is not Prabhupada's mood, basically what's going on. Ultimately, there is a scarcity of a strong spiritual leadership. Material leadership is very prominent and spiritual leadership is very diluted. This is a problem. If somebody comes out from outside, you want to see the sadhu in ISKCON, and we have to take him to the president office. And president office is bigger than his office of a businessman with so many computer, phone, this, that, all facilities. So people don't see that we are sadhus. That is a problem. Prabhupada was sitting with some pillow behind a small table, low. He was meeting with people. There was no, you see only around him his guru's photo and Radha Krishna's photo. Yeah, until unless we have a sadhu profile and a spiritual, strong, authority for which we are ready to actually take shelter of and get nourishment, then all these things are common. This is my understanding. And there's no mood of Goswamis that sit together and discuss scripture. The leaders are not at all interested to sit together and discuss scripture regularly. There's a need of really awakening within the movement. But the sincere devotee will continue with a, you know, mission of Prabhupada and full faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his prophecy that his name will spread in every town and village. And the goal of life is to awaken the love of Radha Krishna. If we have these three things as our objective, our goal, we have to follow Srila Prabhupada. We have to remain under the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we have to awaken love of Radha Krishna. If these three things are clear in our mind, then things will not disturb us. Our goal should be very, very crystal clear. I used to tell to the devotees in ISKCON, why we joined ISKCON? For Krishna Prem. Then every day you should write in front, it should be written every day you see in your home or wherever it is, you commonly, that my aim of joining ISKCON is awaken love of Krishna. Am I really on that path? Am I really advancing towards my goal or not? Let the goal be very clear to us. Krishna Prem through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching in Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. No other way. If these three things are clear, we will not be misled by anybody.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Because, unnecessarily, if we see this and that, we are spoiling our own
No, we just focus on
these
these three things. Focus on these three things.
Yeah,
That's it, our goal, and then there's no problem. Whoever does what, they will not last. Anybody who deviates, they will not last. They will just go here and there. We have seen so many people going and coming. In the last 45 years, we have seen big leaders going and coming. Unless we have these three things very clear in our mind, then there's no problem. Just print it and put it every day. You see it 10 times a day. This is why I am here. And the other advice is have a good group of at least 4 or 5 like-minded people, Jatiya devotee, and always have discussion on the scripture. That will keep us alive in our spiritual life.
Can you please again repeat these 3 points?
3 points. First point is we have to awaken love of Radha Krishna. That is our goal. And it has to be through the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this has to be in the ISKCON of Srila Prabhupada. Today we are less, only 15. Some may not be aware that today is a class.
Yes, Prabhu, because I updated the schedule in the morning only, so few are missing.
All right. The path, then we are reading the next verse. The path of this material world is full of material miseries, and various troubles disturb the conditioned soul. Sometimes he loses and sometimes he gains. In either case, the path is full of danger. Sometimes the conditioned soul is separated from his father by death or by other circumstances, leaving him aside by gradually become attached to others such as his children. In this way, the conditioned soul is sometimes illusioned and afraid. Sometimes he cries loudly out of fear. Sometimes he's happy maintaining his family, and sometimes he's overjoyed and sings melodiously. In this way, he becomes entangled and forget his separation from Supreme Personality of Godhead since time immemorial. Thus, he traverses the dangerous path of material existence, and on this path, he is not at all happy. Those who are self-realized simply take shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to get out of this dangerous material existence. Without accepting the devotional path, one cannot get out of the cultures of the material existence. The conclusion is that no one can be happy in material life. One must take to Krishna consciousness. On the path of sansar, etasmin sansar adhavani, one is afflicted by various obstacles and suffering. Nana klesha upasarga badhita, giving up visarjaya. The persons who have encountered disaster and death, apan vipano yatra yahatam, and accepting those who are born. It means fathers dead and persons who have encountered disaster and death, and accept those who are born. Jatam jatam upadaya, lamenting, becoming bewildered, fearing. Socham muhyam vibhayed, quarreling, crying, rejoicing. Vivadan karadan karandan sangharshyam, singing, being bound up by them. Gyan hemanaha, devoid of association with devotees. Sadhu varjito, one does not escape. Na eva avaratate, the wise say, upadishanti, that the method of crossing this over material existence, adhavan param, is the Supreme Personality, Supreme Tam, from whom material existence of the jiva has arisen. Yatra sartho esha naraloka arabdha. Forget his separation from the Supreme Lord is the sense of the verse. Now Srila Prabhupada's purport. By thoroughly analyzing the materialistic way of life, any sane man can understand that there is not the least happiness in this world. It means in this world there are insane people. Why? Because they are looking for happiness in this world. However, due to continuing on the path of danger from time immemorial and not associating with saintly persons, the conditioned soul under illusion wants to enjoy this material world. Material energy sometimes gives him chance to its so-called happiness. But the conditioned soul is perpetually being punished by material nature. It is therefore said, Dandaya jana rajayena nadiye chobaye. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Materialistic life means continuous unhappiness. But sometimes we accept happiness as it appears between the gaps of unhappiness. Sometimes a condemned person is submerged in the water and hauled out. Actually, all of this is meant for punishment. But he feels a little comfort when he is taken out of the water. Do you remember this? From Chaitanya Charitamrita? Some punishment for the people is you take him, put him in the water for a minute or so. When you think he will not keep his life here, then take him out for a few minutes and let him breathe for a while and then put him again in the water. So in between when he is breathing, he thinks, I'm happy. So punishment is continuous, but this is a gap only when he thinks, now I am happy, now I am released. Again he is put in the water. Again he is taken out for a moment. Again he is put in. That's what it says. This is the situation with the conditioned soul. All the shastra therefore advise that one associated with the devotee and saintly person, sadhu sanga, sarva shastra kahe, lava matra sadhu sanga, sarva siddhi hai. Even by little association with the devotee, the conditioned soul can get out of this miserable material condition. Now the Krishna conscious movement is therefore, write down in the page, this Krishna conscious movement is therefore trying to give everyone a chance to associate with saintly people.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, all the members of the Krishna conscious society must themselves be perfect sadhus in order to give a chance to the fallen conditioned soul. This is the best humanitarian work. So, now what I told you, each member of Krishna conscious, therefore, all the members of the Krishna conscious society must themselves be perfect sadhu. So, what is perfect sadhu? What do you think about the perfect sadhu? How the devotee of Krishna consciousness should be perfect sadhus?
By following the three things you have just told.
What are the symptoms of sadhu in a third canto of Bhagvatam?
Titikshava Karunika.
Yes, so he should have this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, Trinata Pichena Sunichena Tarora Piseshana Mani Naman Dena Kirtanya Sada. This is the most important one everybody should wear as a garland around his neck. These are the Mahaprabhu's advice for a sadhu. He should have fixed goal, and he should preach that goal. So this is Prabhupada's mood and vision about the Krishna conscious movement. This verse explains sentence absorbed in the path of ignorance. A person wanders about and does not understand anything. Verse number 19 of chapter 13. Apana vipana means receiving disaster and dying. Only in the association of devotees can one cross over the difficulties. The wise point out that the Supreme Lord, from whom material existence has arisen, is the way to cross over material existence. Association with the devotee is the cause. Verse 39. Saintly person who are friend to all living entities, so are the Sarvabhaumanam, have a peaceful mind, prashanta, has peaceful consciousness. They have controlled their senses and mind, danta, and what are the word? Danta means to control senses and mind. And they easily attain the path of liberation, the path back to Godhead. Being the unfortunate and attached to the miserable material condition, a materialistic person cannot associate with them. Crossing material existence is attained by bhakti yoga. Chakravarti Pad write, Ya idam yoga anusasanam. And yoga means bhakti yoga. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of 6th chapter, when we say yoga, it means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are a stepping stone to reach to the climax, which is bhakti yoga, like the Mount Everest is the highest peak of the mountain. So yoga means bhakti yoga. All other yoga are the different rung on the ladder of the yoga. And not by materialistic person, na va etad. Those who have given up violence to all beings, yad nyasta danda munyaha, who are peaceful, upasharma shila, who have controlled their minds, uparta atmanaha, attain freedom from sansar yada samvaga gacchati. How to get out of the sansar? Get out of the sansar. The great saint Jad Bharat described both the miserable condition and the means to get out. The only way out of it is association with devotees. And this association is very easy. Although unfortunate people do also get this opportunity due to their great misfortune, they cannot take shelter of pure devotees. So, what do you mean by association of devotees? What is your understanding association of devotee mean? Yes?
When we take their qualities and mentality,
Take their quality and mentality. Only meaning is hearing Krishna Katha from devotees is the meaning of association of devotee. Only hearing Krishna Katha. This is the meaning of association of devotee. Bodhayanta parasparam. Devotees are those which always speak of Krishna and hear about Krishna. This is the meaning of association, no other meaning. Therefore, because although unfortunate people also get the opportunity, because they meet the devotees, but due to their great misfortune, they cannot take shelter of pure devotee. It means cannot hear from the pure devotee and follow his instruction. And consequently, they continuously suffer. Nonetheless, this Krishna conscious movement, again, write on the page. Nonetheless, this Krishna conscious movement insists that everyone take to this path by adopting the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also listening. When we chant, we listen. When somebody else chant, we listen. So, listening from the pure devotee means listening Hare Krishna Mantra and Bhagvatam or Bhagavad Gita. The preacher of Krishna consciousness go from door to door, not now, to inform people how they can be relieved from miserable condition of material life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told to Haridas Thakur and Nityananda, Grahi, go to the door to door, a bhiksha mango, and ask this charity, chant Harinam. This was the Mahaprabhu's order. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. By the mercy of Krishna and Guru, one can get the seed of devotional service. If one is a little intelligent, he can cultivate Krishna consciousness and be freed from the miserable condition of the material life. The cause of not returning to the material world is described. Samagachanti means they attain. By associating with devotees and surrendering to the Supreme Lord, they will be free from material forest. Verse number 40. There were many great saintly kings, Raj Rishi, who were expert in performing sacrificial rituals and very competent in conquering others' kingdom. Yet, despite their power, they could not attain the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is because those kings could not even conquer the false consciousness of I am this body, and this is my property. These two words, me and mine, I and me and mine, are poison according to the Vedic literature. Aham mameti iti visha. I, mine are poison. Idam na mama iti amrit. This is not mine. This belongs to Krishna. Isha vasha idam sarvam. There is nectar. Thus they simply cheated enemy. Thus they simply created enmity with rival kings, fought with them, and died without having discharged life's real mission. And what is the life's real mission? to attain the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is in the same translation. Chakravarti Pad writes, even though a person may be a conqueror of all direction, yadabi digibha jayano, a performer of great sacrifice, yajvino, or sage among rishis, ya vai rajarishya, lying on the battlefield, param de shri shairan, on the soil which created enmity with others, asyan eva kirta vairanu bandhayam, by thinking this earth is mine, mam ayam iti, he gives up the earth, visarjaya swayam, and dies. Upasanghirtaha. Purport. The real mission of the life for the conditioned soul is re-established the forgotten relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in devotional service so that he may revive Krishna consciousness after giving up the body. This is the mission of conditioned soul. One doesn't have to give up his occupation as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or whatever. In any position while discharging his prescribed duties, one can develop Krishna consciousness simply by associating with the devotees who are representative of Krishna and who can teach this science regretfully. The big politicians and the leaders in the material world simply create enmity and are not interested in spiritual advancement. What is going on in the world now? Big world's superpowers, they are just enemy with one another like anything. The whole world is full of rivalry, enviousness, enmity, and they want to conquer one another like anything. And they don't have really the mission of the human life very clear before them. Neither they have any association of devotees who are representative of Krishna and teach the science of love of God. This is the problem of the material world at present time. Material advancement may be very pleasing to an ordinary man, but ultimately he is defeated because he identifies himself with the material body and considers everything related to it to be his property. This is ignorance. Actually, nothing belongs to him, not even the body. By one's karma, one gets a particular body, and if he does not utilize this body to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all his activities are frustrated. The real purpose of life is stated in Srimad Bhagvatam 1:2-13. Atapumbi dveja sreshtaha varna ashram vibhagashaha swanvishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. It really doesn't matter what activity a man engages in. If he can simply satisfy the Supreme Lord, his life is successful. This verse explains warriors who have conquered even the elephants of the direction. This is called Digaj. Digaj. Dik means direction. Gaj means elephant. And there are 8 directions and there are 8 elephants on those directions called Digaj. It means he conquered all the directions. It's called Digvijay. Thinking in terms of mind, surrounded by enemies, all fall dead on the battlefield. Mentioned in verse number 15 of chapter 13. Even though they conquer all directions, they lie on the earth, which created enmity by thinking it is mine, and giving up that earth they die. The last verse of this section. When the conditioned soul accepts shelter of the creeper of fruitive activity, he may be elevated by pious activities to higher planetary system and thus gain liberation from the hellish condition only. But unfortunately, he cannot remain there. After reaping the result of his pious activities, he has to return to the lower planetary system. In this way, he perpetually goes up and comes down. Taking support of the wine of karma. Karma, valim means wine, creeper. Avalambya means holding on. Free of danger and free of danger and hellish existence. Tata apada kathanchit narakad vimuktaha. He is free from the hellish conditions and danger in this life. Hare Krishna, is it okay? Everybody is hearing? There was some message. Okay. Even if he attends Swarga, he remains on the path of samsara and and again enter material existence. In this regard, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmand Brahmite koi bhagivan jiva Guru Krishna prasade paye bhakti lata bija. Even if one wanders from many millions of years, from time of creation until the time of annihilation, one cannot get free from the path of material existence unless one receives the shelter at the lotus feet of pure devotee. As the monkey takes shelter of the branch of a banyan tree and thinks he is enjoying, the conditioned soul, not knowing the real interest of his life, takes shelter of the path of karma kand, fruitive activities, which is like monkey holding on a banyan tree branch. Sometimes he is elevated to the heavenly planet by such activities, and sometimes he again descends to the earth. This is described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Brahmand Brahmite. Brahmite means going and coming. However, if by Krishna's grace one is fortunate enough to come under the shelter of the Guru, by the mercy of Krishna, it means when Krishna is merciful, what is the proof? The proof that Krishna is merciful, that we get association of bona fide spiritual master. By the mercy of Krishna, he received lesson on how to execute devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In this way, he received lesson. This is important thing I want to really express my concern. When Arjuna is taking shelter of Krishna as a spiritual master, he doesn't say initiate me. He said Sadhi Mam, please instruct me. It means the spiritual master has give the lesson. He said, Prabhupada writes, receive the lessons, not only lessons, continuous teaching. Srila Prabhupada in early days were continuously for months speaking to the devotees. He spoke on nectar of devotion in Radha Damodar temple continuously for months. He spoke about teaching of Lord Queen Kunti, teaching of Kapil Dev to Devhuti and Bhagavad Dharma. So he gave lessons continuously. And this system is not really very prevalent presently in the management structure now. There is a need of lessons taking from the spiritual master, how to execute devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In this way, he received clue of how to get out this continuous struggle up and down within the material world. Therefore, the Vedic injection is that one should approach the spiritual master. Veda declared, Tad Vigyanartham Sagrum Eva Abhigaccheta. Similarly in Bhagavad Gita, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Paripashnena Sevaya. Updevshantite Gyanam Gyaninam Tattva Darshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge to you because he has seen the truth. And Bhagavatam also says, Tasmad gurum prapadya jigyasu shreya uttamam shabde pare cha nishnatam brahmanehe upasham ashriyam. Any person who seriously desires to achieve the real happiness, shreya, must seek out a bona fide spiritual master. And what are the qualities of a spiritual master? They take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of this his spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of his scripture, Abde Nishnat, by deliberation, and be able to convince other of these conclusions. And such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material consideration, are to be understood to be bona fide spiritual master. So there are qualification of a spiritual master in this verse of Srimad Bhagvatam, 11th canto. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada. By mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the mercy of Krishna. This is the same advice given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. This is essential. What is essential? Initiation from bona fide spiritual master. And lessons about practice of devotion. One must come to Krishna consciousness, and therefore one must take shelter of pure devotee. Thus one can become free from the cultures of the matter. Now, this verse explains holding on to the creeper, afraid of an elephant. He remained dangling there, mentioned in 13th chapter, verse number 18 and 19. Even though one may attain Swarg, one will still retread the path of samsara. Now we have a next section which says 42 to 46, glorification of Bharta by sages. Doesn't say Jad Bharta, say Bharta. Tasyedam upagayanti arashabhyehi rajarishehe. Rishabhe, Rishab means son of Rishabdev. Rajarishi, Bharta. Manasapi mahatmanaha nanuvartamahati nirapo makshikevaha guruttamataha. Having summarized the teaching of Jad Bharta, Sukdev Goswami said, My dear King Parikshit, the path indicated by Jad Bharta is like the path followed by Garuda, the carrier of the Lord. The ordinary kings are like flies. Flies cannot follow the path of Garuda. And to date, none of the great kings and victorious leaders could follow this path of devotional service, not even mentally. Rishabh esa Raj Rishi Manasapi Mahatmana Nanu Vartamanu Nirpaha Makshi Eva Guruttamataha. Like Guruttamaha of the Garuda, carrier of the Supreme Lord. Nirpa, king. Makshika, like fly. Makshi, fly. Tasya of Jad Bharta idam, this glorification upagayanti is they sung. Arashabhasya of the son of Rishabdev. Here Raj Rishi, the great saintling. Manasapi, even by mind. Mahatmana, great personalities, Jad Bharta. Nobody can compare to the Jad Bharta. The whole point is that Chakravarti Maharaj, the sages glorify the action of Bharta as follows. Tasya adhyam upagayanti. Like fly imitate Garuda. Maski eva Garuttama. A king should not imitate the activities of son of Rishabdev, the saintly king and great devotee, even in his mind. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati yatnami siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvata. Out of many thousand among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. The path of devotional service is very difficult. even for great kings who have conquered many enemies. Although these kings were victorious on the battlefield, they cannot conquer the bodily conception. There are many big leaders, yogis and swamis and so-called incarnation who are very much addicted to mental speculation and who advertise themselves as perfect personalities, but they are not ultimately successful. The path of devotional service is undoubtedly very difficult to follow, but it becomes very easy if the candidate actually wants to follow the path of Mahajan. In this age, there is a path of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared to deliver all fallen souls, Patita Etutav Avatar. This path is so simple and easy that everyone can take to it by chanting the holy name of Krishna, of the Lord. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam, Karunastev Nastev, Gatiranatha. We are very satisfied that this path is being opened by this Krishna conscious movement. Again, put in the Krishna conscious movement page. Because so many European American boys and girls are taking this philosophy seriously and gradually attaining perfection. So, Hare Krishna, verse 43. Yo dustejan dara sutan suhirda rajam hriday prasha jaho yuvaeva malvad uttama shloka lalsa. These are the glorification of Maharaj birth. Yo dustejan dara sutam suhirda rajam hriday prasha. One who has given up what is very difficult to give up, the wife, the children, the well-wishers, the kingdom, they are all touching to the heart. Hriday Sparshaha. Jahu, given up, how? Yuvaeva Malvad, like a stool, never looked behind. Why? Uttama Shloka Lalsya, because he had greed, Lalsya. Lalsa means greed. He has greed for Uttama Shlok, one who is glorified by choicest poetry. There was a king, he went out to conquer the foreign lands, and after conquering there, he wrote a letter to his queens that now I am coming back to the kingdom. What do you want me to bring as a best gift for you? All the kings wrote something important in that country. But the youngest queen, new queen, even king was not very acquainted with, she only had a red paper, and the only word written on the paper was Sa, S-A. When king read all letters, he ordered the gift for all those queens, and when the last letter he saw, there's nothing written, only Sa. So he asked the minister, what does this mean? He said, this red color is Lal. And the word Sa means she is saying she has only greed that you come, not anything from you. She has a Lalsa. So when king came back to the kingdom, he sent the gift to all the queens, and he went to the one who wrote Lalsa, because she has a greed for the king, not for the things. So Maharaj Bharat has a greed for Krishna, not for anything of this world. All the things of the world he has given up like a stool. Malvad. All the Goswamis, they were Mandalapati Tuchvat. They have given up all their post and prestige and money like nothing, and they were in a two cloth and lived under the trees. So translation. While in the prime life, it means youth, the great Maharaj Bharat gave up everything because he was so fond of Lalsa, serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Uttam Shlok. He gave up his beautiful wife, nice children, great friends, an enormous empire. Although these things are very dear to give up, Maharaj Bharat was so exalted that he gave them up just like one gives up his stool after evacuating. Such was the greatness of his majesty. Bharat, who longed to serve the Lord, here Uttam Shloka Lalsa, gave up wife, son, friend, and kingdom, as if they were a stool, though they were touching to the heart, and thus difficult to give up at a young age. The name of God is Krishna because he is so attractive. Why? That for his sake, the pure devotee can give up anything within this material world. Even if a very, very dear, whatever he has, he can give up for Krishna. Maharaj Bharat was an ideal king, instructor, and emperor of the world. He possessed all the opulence of the material world, but Krishna is so attractive that he attracted Maharaj Bharat from all his material possessions. Yet somehow or other, the king became affectionate to the little deer and falling from his position, had to accept the body of a deer in the next life. Due to Krishna's great mercy upon him, he could not forget his position and he could understand how he had fallen. Therefore, in the next life as a Jad Bharata, Maharaj Bharat was careful not to spoil his energy. And therefore he presented himself as deaf and dumb person. In this way, he could concentrate on his devotional service. We have to learn from the great King Bharat how to become cautious in cultivating Krishna consciousness. Something about Krishna consciousness page. We have to learn from Maharaj Bharat how to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Yet any service rendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never lost. Swalpamasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. A little devotional service rendered sincerely is permanent asset. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, tektva swadharmam charanam bhujambharera bhaje apakko bhajan akpavo athapate tato yatra ko va bhadram abhut amushya kim ko vartha apato bhajatam swadharmataha. Somehow or other, if one is attracted to Krishna, what he does in devotional service is permanent asset. Even if one falls down due to immaturity or bad association, his devotional assets are never lost. There are many examples of this: Ajamil, Maharaj Bharat, and many others. The Krishna conscious movement is giving everyone, again Krishna conscious movement is giving everyone a chance to engage in devotional service for at least some time. See how liberal is Prabhupada, for some time only. A little service will give one an impetus to advance and thus make one's life successful. In this verse, Lord is described as Uttam Shlok. Uttam means best, and the Shlok means reputation. Lord Krishna is full in 6 opulence, one of which is reputation. Aishwaryasya, Samgarasya, Vairyasya, Yashasya, Vishnu Purana. Krishna's reputation is still expanding. We are spreading the glories of Krishna by pushing forward this Krishna conscious movement. So purpose of Krishna conscious movement is to spread the glories of Krishna. Krishna's reputation 5,000 years after the battle of Kurukshetra is still expanding throughout the world. Every important individual within this world must have heard of Krishna, especially at the present moment due to Krishna conscious movement. See Prabhupada's vision of Krishna conscious movement. It must reach to every person. Now I feel this word Hare Krishna has become common everywhere. Even in the flight, we just board. They say something like "Welcome" or I says Hare Krishna. They say Hare Krishna. I have tested this, and they say Hare Krishna. Mostly 90% they say Hare Krishna. So this is a very common word now. It is this Hare Krishna word is common. What Prabhupada is saying quite a years back. Now it is coming true. Now Srila Prabhupada writes, even people do not like us. And now Prabhupada Prabhupada says, see how positive he is. Even people do not like us and want to suppress movement are also somehow or other chanting Hare Krishna. They say, Hare Krishna, people should be chastised. Such foolish people do not realize the true value of this Hare Krishna, this movement. But the mere fact that they want to criticize it gives them a chance to chant Hare Krishna, and then this is its success. Prabhupada, because they are against Krishna consciousness, means our movement is successful. And they are also chanting. When this movie came, Dam Maro Dam, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, so the devotees, they saw movie and they came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, don't worry. After some time, people will not remember Dam Maro Dam, but they will remember Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So this will remain. Even they are against, they chant Hare Krishna, that is good. This verse describes birth's experience of prem. Birth's experience of prem. The word yah, because it is connected with the phrase Uttam Shlok Lalsa, has no corresponding sa. It is like sentence. Anyway, this is Sanskrit grammar. The wife and son were difficult to give up because they were attractive to the heart. So here the Rajyam is the Dvanda, compound taken as one item. He gave up the wife, son while young, whereas Priyavrta gave up his kingdom when he was old. He gave up everything as if it were his stool. Giving up his stool gives bliss, and not giving it up gives pain. Remembering it must one is spit in disgust. This shows the distinctive character. The reason was that he longed for the Lord, who had the highest fame in terms of form, quality, pastime, sweetness, and powers. He longed to see the Lord. Person who show detachment by all their senses but are not absorbed in the Lord do not reject wife, son like a stool. This shows Bharat topmost status as devotee. Yeah, comparing with Priyavrta, he was more advanced. Now verse number, the same verse is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now there are three things here from Chaitanya Charitamrita, other thought. Bhukti Siddhi Indriya Artha Tara Nahi Bhai. Tara Nahi Bhai. And the material people are interested in material enjoyment, bhukti, mystic power, siddhi, and sense gratification, indriya artha. But these things do not appeal to the devotee, tare nahi bhai, at all. The same text, Dujamdar Sutam, is quoted in Madhya Leela, where Srila Prabhupada translated it. King Bharat was very eager to attend the association of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is called Uttam Shlok, because poems and prayers are offered to him for his favor. In his youth, King Bharat gave up his attractive wife, children, as well as his beloved friends and opulent kingdom. Just one gives up his stool after passing it. These are the signs of vrakti. Now, this is something I asked you earlier sometime. These are the signs of vrakti, detachment, found in the person who has developed bhav, preliminary stage of love of God. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagvatam. So he was at the stage of bhav bhakti. And the symptom of bhav bhakti is vrakti. Connection with the previous verse. In joy, the same meaning is repeated to make it clear. This next verse, 44, is saying same thing. Yodustejam kshiti sutta svajanartha dharam parthyam shriyam survaraihi sadhyavalokan naechanrapatada uchitam mahatam madhove sevanurakta manasam abhavo api falgo. Sukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, the activities of Bharat Maharaj are wonderful. They gave up everything difficult for others to give up. He gave up his kingdom, his wife, his family, His opulence was so great that even the demigod envied him. Yet he gave it up. It was quite befitting a great personality like him to be great devotee. He could renounce everything because he was so attached to the beauty, opulence, reputation, knowledge, strength, and renunciation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna. Krishna is so attractive that one can give up all desirable things for his sake. Indeed, even liberation is considered insignificant for those whose minds are attracted to the loving service of God. The king did not desire, na icchan nirpa, the earth, sun, relative, object, wife, kshati, sutta, swajan, artha, dharan, all difficulty to give up, yaduschyan. He did not desire this wealth, his wealth, na icchan shriyam, which was desired by the devatas, pratyam survarai, and which cast glance asking to be engaged in his service. Means wealth cast glance asking to be engaged in his service, in the service of Maharaj Bharat. That is appropriate. Tad uchitam. Or even liberation is insignificant for the great devotee whose minds are attracted to serving the Supreme Lord. This verse confirms Krishna is all attractive. Maharaj Bharat was so attracted to Krishna that he gave up all his material possessions. Generally, materialistic people are attracted to such positions. Atagraha kshetra sutaptaha vitta janasya moho ayam aham mameti. One becomes attached to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusion and thinks in terms of I and mine. The attraction for material thing is certainly due to illusion. There is no value in attraction to material things, for the conditioned soul is diverted by them. One's life is successful if he is absorbed in the attraction of Krishna's strength, beauty, and pastime as described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagvatam. The Mayavadis are attracted to merging into the existence of the Lord, but Krishna is more attractive than the desire to merge. The word abhava means not to take birth again in this material world. The devotee does not care whether he is going to be born or not. He is simply satisfied with the Lord's service in any condition. That is real mukti. Iha yasya harera dasya manasa karmana iha yasya harera dasya manasa is again karmana manasa gira akhileshu api avastasu jivan muksa uchyate. One who acts to serve Krishna with his body, mind, and intelligence and words is a liberated person even within the material world. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A person who always desires to serve Krishna is interested in ways to convince people that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead and that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. That is his ambition. It doesn't matter whether he is in heaven or hell. This is called Uttama Shloka Lalsa. So what is the meaning of Uttama Shloka Lalsa? If this is the question, then you should write couple things from different places. Make a small note, what is the meaning of Uttama Shloka Lalsa. Okay? In joy, the same meaning is repeated to make it clear. He did not desire wealth. This makes his followers glance at wealth like thinking, Bharat should have such mercy on her. It means Bharat should be merciful on the wealth. This is the meaning given by Sridhar Swami. Or it can refer to wealth which, looking at Bharat with pity, says, Bharat could not accept pain of the body arising from his detachment. He should remain in this house pampered by me. Wealth is thinking like that. Abhava here, liberation are insignificant. Now, verse number 45. Yajnanam dharam patya vidhinay punya yogay sankhyaay sirse prakrti ishwaraya narayanaha harihe mama iti udaram hasyam mrigatvam api yaha samadho Samudajahar. Even though in the body of deer, Maharaj Bhatt did not forget Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, when he was giving up the body of deer, he loudly uttered the following prayer. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sacrifice personified. He gives the result of ritualistic activity. He is protector of religious system. He, the personification of mystic yoga, the source of all knowledge and controller of all entire creation and the super soul and every living entity. He is beautiful and attractive. I am quitting this body offering obeisance unto him and hoping that I may perpetually engage in his transcendental service. Uttering this Maharaj Bhatt left his body. I offer respect to the personification of sacrifice, master of the Dharma, who is skillful in the rules of the sacrifice, to the pure personification of yoga, to the head of the Sankhya, to the Lord of Prakriti, and to Narayan, to Hari, wanting to give up this dear body. This prayer, he chanted this prayer. The entire Vedas are meant for understanding karma, gyaan and yoga. Fruitive activity, spiritual knowledge and mystic yoga. Whatever way of spiritual realization we accept, the ultimate goal is Narayan, the Supreme Person of Godhead. The living entities are eternally connected with him via devotional service. The living are, as stated in Srimad Bhagvatam, Ante Narayan Smrtihi. The perfection of life is to remember Narayan at the time of death. Although Bharat Maharaj had to accept the body of deer, he could remember Narayan at the time of death. Consequently, he took the birth as a perfect devotee in Brahman family. This confirmed the statement of Bhagavad Gita, Suchinam Shrimatam Ge Yoga Bhrishto Abhijayate. One who falls from the path of self-realization takes birth in the family of Brahmana, or wealthy aristocrats. Although Maharaj Bhatt appeared in the royal family, he became the neglectful and took birth as a deer. Because he was very cautious within his deer body, he took the birth in a Brahman family as a Jad birth. During this lifetime, he remained perfectly Krishna conscious and preached the gospel of Krishna consciousness directly, beginning with his instruction to Maharaj Rahugan. In this regard, the word yoga is very significant. The purpose of Ashtanga Yoga, as stated by Madhu Acharya, is to link or connect with the Supreme Person of Godhead. The goal is not to display some material perfection. 3 lines successfully. Karma, gyaan and bhakti are glorified for having greater and greater excellence. Greater than karma is gyaan and greater than gyaan is bhakti. I offer respect to Lord who is expert and rules for sacrifice, vidhi ne punya. While desiring to give up hasyam, this dear body, not at the time of death, he chanted, since the Lord would make him take birth again, to perfect his bhakti. Last verse. Who is interested in hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam, regularly discuss the pure characteristic of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about all auspicious Maharaj Bharat, one's lifespan and material opulence certainly increases. One may pass the Bhakti Vaibhav example. It is written? No? Okay. This is the Shruti Phal. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planet or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the God. Whatever one desire, one can attain. Okay, if you desire passing in the Bhakti Vaibhav, you can attain that simply by hearing and chanting and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. This way one can fulfill his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things. For simply by studying life of Maharaj Bharat, one can attain all desirable things. What do you think? You have got everything. Anyone who hear? Anushrano. Yaha anushrnoti. Anushrnoti means hearing from authority. Hearing in parampara, hearing from a spiritual master. Anu means following. Relates, akhyaaste, one which means who tells to others. Or glorify, abhinandanti. This narration of the saintly King Bharat, whose pure qualities and actions are worshipped by the great devotees. A story which yield auspicious long life, wealth, fame, heaven and liberation. Achieve all blessings spontaneously, without depending on anything else. This is called Falshruti. Falshruti. Now in this purport, Srila Prabhupada has given the whole summary of the chapter. The forest of material existence is summarized in the 14th chapter. The word bhavatavi referred to the path of material existence. Merchant is a living entity who comes to the forest of material existence to try to make money for sense gratification. The six splendors of the senses, eyes, ear, nose, tongue, touch and mind. The bad leader is diverted intelligence. Intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness, but due to material existence, one divert all our intelligence to achieve material facilities. Everything belongs to Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, but due to our perverted mind and senses, we plunder the property of Lord and engage in satisfying our senses. The jackals and tigers in the forest are our family members, and the herbs and the creepers are our material desires. The mountain's cave is our happy home, and the mosquito and serpents are our enemies. The rats, beets, and vultures are different type of thieves who take away our possession, and the Gandharvapura are the phantasmagoria of the body and home. The will of wisp is our attraction for gold and its color, and the material residence and wealth are ingredients for our material enjoyment. Whirlwind is our attraction for our wife, and the dust storm is our blinding experience during sex. Demigods control the different direction, and cricket's noise are the harsh words spoken by our enemy during our absence. The owl is the person who directly insults us, and the impious tree as impious men. The waterless river represents atheists who give us trouble in this world and the next, and the blazing fire is family life. The meat-eating demons are government officials, Rakshasas. The many ritualistic duties of the household life constitute a tall hill one must cross, and the pricking thorn on that hill are the impediment of the material life. Sleep is python. For the little taste experience during sex, one desire to enjoy another's wife, and then, like one who goes to take honey from the beehives, is attacked by the bees. He is chastised by the woman's guardian, like the husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and so forth. The creeper is one's wife. The lion is imminent death. And the herons, crows, and vultures are so-called demigods and swamis, yogis, and incarnations, who are all too insignificant to save one from the lion's attack. The swans are perfect Brahmins, and monkeys are extravagant Shudras, engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The trees of the monkeys are our household, and the elephant is ultimate death. Thus all constitute the material existence as described in this chapter. Thus end the purport. Okay. Bharat's pure qualities and actions are worshipped in Bhagavatam, or by devotees easily, spontaneously, all things desired are attained. Thus end this chapter. Ki Jai, Hare Krishna. Now we have finished this chapter. Canto 5, Canto 5. Canto 5, chapter 10, 14, 19, 5, 6. Any question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, I was thinking about what you had told during the class about the association of devotees means hearing of Krishna Katha.
Yeah, Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan, you can say both.
Yeah. And while reading NOI, when we read about the 6 exchanges of between devotees, I used to always wonder why these 6 exchanges are important when we can just sit and hear Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan.
Or 6 exchanges among the devotees, and then there's the type of devotee we have to select. Akhyati, Prachati, and
Dadati
Dadati
Pratigranati.
Pratigranti, and Bhojati Bhunketi. So, hearing Hare Krishna. So, these 6 exchanges are for more intimate relationship with the devotees. They are included in this. Actually, if you see, they are included basically in one sense. How they are included? When we hear from the devotees, then we ask him questions. When we ask questions, then he explains to us. And always there is a prasad wherever we have our classes. So all these things are more or less interconnected. If we hear from somebody, then we want to offer something to him. I mean, as a devotee, when I go and speak somewhere, some Krishna Katha, the devotee brings some fruit, something, I have to give them some prasad. This is just it is a secondary to hearing Krishna Katha. Then these are automatical. They are included as a package in that. Because the relationship is developed by hearing, therefore we exchange things. Then we can really ask something if we are inspired by that person. It's not. So we are inspired only by hearing from a person.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Can you see somewhere here? Chapter 1 to 9, 13, 1 to 19, and chapter 14, 1 to 41, allegorical story by Jad birth, and its explanation by Sukdev Goswami. 13, 20 to 6 is Jad birth, conclude his instruction and to the Rahugan, and express his gratitude, and 14 to 40 sages glorify. This is what we have done. Now see the allegory here. Rahugan and Maharaj, Rahugan and Jad birth. And Sukdev explained allegory to Parikshit. This is what is going on both together. Merchant in the forest, for article to sell but suffers. Conditioned soul, 6 senses, transmigration, suffer. Plunderers, children, uncontrolled senses are the plunderers. Then jackals, family members. Then imaginary place, mind's false vision. And the mosquitoes, enemies, low-class men, ghost, material desire, eye blinded by dust, desire for possession, illicit sex, observed by demigods, means witness. Sound of cricket and owl, enemies and government, impious trees, wealthy men, miser, wealthy men, dead living, mirage, sense gratification, shallow river, atheists, pseudo gurus, atheists, Forest fire, family life. Yaksha, government officials. Temporary relief in Gandharva city. Dreamy happiness, reappearance of the forefathers. Climb hill. Household ceremonies, angry and family. Python, sleep. Snake bite, enemies. Dark well, troubled heart. Illicit sex, king punishes, other enjoy property. Honey search bee, bites and honey stolen. Miseries from nature and enemies, threefold miseries, and money transaction, cheating. Beg, borrow, steal, insult. Insult and disrespect and scarcity. Difficulty and diverse. Giving up the dead. Accepting the barn. No interest in spiritual life. Even great warriors fall, I and mine. Creeper, wife. Lion, death. Cranes and vultures, bogus grooves. From cranes to swans to monkey. Crane, swan, monkey. Swan are Brahmans. Pseudo Swamis, Brahman, Sudra. Enjoy on tree, fall in cave, cursed by elephant. Transmigration, monkey jumps, ignorance, death. Afraid remain dragging on the creeper. Perpetually goes up and comes down. Miserable life, bhakti is the only way out. This is something chapter 13 you have done. This is chapter 13. This is chapter 14. This we have done. No one can imitate like fly imitating Garuda. Jad Bharat gave up attachment like a stool without difficulty to give up. He renounced everything for the sake of Krishna. Even liberation is insignificant for devotees. Bharat's prayers while giving up pari, result of hearing, chanting, blessing, and the end. Okay? This is just a visual of all these things. Anybody else has some question or comment? No. So this ISKCON part, somebody should write and maybe send to me, just my reference. And some question bank you have not yet got?
Prabhuji, I just shared 14, 15, 16, all the question banks to you.
Okay. You shared with me too?
Yes, Prabhu, I have sent you to your WhatsApp message.
Okay. Because I don't have some person to send you this fifth canto, but I will see today if I find somebody. I'm at home. Only my son can do if I can find him. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu gaya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo.